being affected and will be affected. But again, this is a live look from overhead. The northbound lanes on the right moving up to speed, but massive delays here. And there's the off ramp there. Wow, wow, wow.
So it's in all directions, Roxy, right now, because the turnpike, as we know, which is what many residents that work either in downtown or somewhere up north, that they travel down the turnpike to go down south to the Kendall area, to Homestead, to Cutler Bay, and even to the Keys, especially because it's a Friday and it's a weekend, and many people travel to the Keys on Friday evenings. Once again, you can see traffic is backed up for miles and miles, and the exit, which is on 128th Street, that is completely shut down on the turnpike. So if anyone's trying to get to the Kendall area, they have to get off on the next exit, which is 152nd. But in the meantime, just to get there, it's going to take you quite a while. So you need to pack your patience today if you're traveling in that area. And this all stems from the shooting earlier today, about 2.5 hours ago, of a Miami-Dade sheriff's deputy. It happened in a warehouse district. There are some residential areas a few blocks away, but where it happened was in this industrial area on 122nd and 128th Street. And that is where some sort of altercation took place, and an officer was shot. He was taken to the hospital. We don't have word on a condition. We did hear from the sheriff's office asking for prayers. We also heard from the Miami-Dade County mayor talking about the duty of police officers, that they put their lives on the line every day. And in this particular case, it happened to this one deputy. We don't know much information about who he or she is, the identity of that person. We only know what led up to the shooting and where that officer is now, which is at HCA Florida Kendall Regional Hospital.
And that is what we're looking at right now, this massive police presence here. Sophia was describing it. She said, this is incredible what I'm watching here. This is Chopper 6 live overhead of Kendall HCA Hospital. And what you see just outside is all of those officers that have come here, and they have lined up in a procession. There you see them outside of their patrol cars, all speaking together. Their lights are on, of course, 6:34 this Friday evening. So Sophia was painting the picture. We could, you know, she was telling us what she was seeing, but we could also hear the sirens. We heard the traffic, and we see law enforcement from all sorts of different municipalities that have lined up just outside of Kendall HCA Hospital. So now just astounding and incredible when you see how many police officers from all sorts of agencies have come here to show their support and their solidarity for the deputy with Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office who was shot this evening in some sort of altercation here in Southwest Miami-Dade.
Roxy, this is definitely a show of force. A show of force and a show of support. As you mentioned, agencies from municipalities, but not only that, I mean, you're talking about Florida Highway Patrol. You're talking about the FBI. You're talking about Sweetwater Police, Hialeah, Coral Gables. They are all, and even Miami-Dade Schools is on hand as well, showing their support. We have not gotten word other than to asking for prayers, but we have not heard from the sheriff herself, Rosie Cordero Stutz. We talked to Juan Perez earlier today, the former director of Miami-Dade Police, who says that they're following protocol right now. They need to get as much information as possible before they make an official statement as to what happened and the condition of that deputy. But all eyes are on that hospital right now, and all we can describe that as is a show of force and a show of solidarity. And as Sophia said, she's never seen anything like this before. It looks like more than dozens and dozens of cars, of emergency vehicles and of law enforcement vehicles. It looks like hundreds.
It's incredible, not to mention emotional. Lorena Inclang, she's there speaking with the community. Lorena, I know that you have somebody there. Let us know what you're seeing and what you're learning from your vantage point.
Yes, just to give you an idea, we are on Southwest 128th Street and Southwest 127th Avenue. This is as close as we can get to the scene. But just a moment ago, I did speak to somebody who was here nearby. I'm going to actually bring her in. Thank you so much for doing this live interview with us. We are live right now. First, tell me your first and last name.
Hi, my name is April Steffens.
April, tell me what you heard earlier today.
So I own a business actually right in the front, wax house, and I was actually getting material for where the scene of the situation happened, and all I heard was just gunshots and then a swarm of police officers coming to the scene of the accident. From what I understood, it happened in the public shopping center, and then when I looked at my Ring camera to see what actually happened, it was a suspect who shot at a police and then decided to end his life afterwards. And then I guess he had a friend or another suspect that was there that had fled the scene.
And we're still working to confirm a lot of these details, but after you heard those gunshots, describe to me what you saw.
I mean, honestly, in this community, you don't really hear any of those things. So my first reaction was to tell the rest of my clients for the day to stay home and for their safety to please stay home, because my first priority is always that, the safety of others. So that was my first priority. And my second one was to come and close my business to make sure that everything was okay.
You said earlier you were there to gather some items for your business. Describe that area back there.
Well, there's a Publix shopping center and a Dollar Tree, so I was getting cleaning materials from Publix when I heard the gunshots happen. And then to confirm, my partner's friend, who also works in that area, said that he also heard gunshots. So it was a confirmation that something definitely had happened.
As you see this scene around you and how many hours it's been now, and it's all still blocked off, and there's people over at the hospital, what's going through your mind as you learned that a police officer was, or a deputy, I should say, was shot?
I have family members in the first responder industry, and to be honest with you, you don't go into that industry thinking that you're not going to come home. So it's unfortunate that this happens at somebody who was just trying to do their job, and my hopes and prayers is that he does have a recovery if there is one for him.
At this point, does everybody here at the shopping center, they are aware of what's going on here? What have you been hearing?
So all the businesses have been locked up. We haven't been able to leave. I've been here since 3 p.m. not being able to leave my business, just locked in there. And that's just the updates that we've gotten. We haven't left because I'm 15 minutes away from my business, but unfortunately, it's a 2-hour drive. So it's just better to stay put and wait for the officers to tell us what's next.
What's supposed to be 15 minutes is not going to take you
2 hours, yeah.
Anything else you'd like to add about this situation? Just so unfortunate, everything that's going on.
Just, be safe out there, and I hope that they do catch the suspect that did all of this today.
April, thank you so much for sharing with us. I appreciate it. It was good to meet you despite the circumstances. Thank you so much. You just heard from a business owner there and everything that they're going through here. Just behind us is a shopping plaza, a very large one, actually. There's restaurants. You just heard there's a wax business and others. Behind us here, you could see that they're keeping a lot of people as far away from the scene as possible as they continue to investigate. Overhead, you could hear a lot of aviation, helicopters flying overhead. We've been hearing that since we have arrived. So this is what we've been looking at. We were stuck in traffic. We were live earlier with our viewers, and we were stuck in traffic for a long time. So we just got here about 15 minutes ago to get a look at the scene, but we haven't been able to get much closer than this. Back to you in the studio.
Lorena, if we can ask you, because you did speak to that person that she said that she was, I think it was April, that she was stuck there. Have you been able to see any other businesses? What's the status there?
I do see behind us there is a pizza shop, and it appears to be open. And essentially, the people who were already here, I have been able to stay here, and some can leave because right here on Southwest 128th, there is a way to get out, but it is blocked if you're trying to get past 127th Avenue. So that they're forcing you to make either a left or a right here. But for the most part, this shopping plaza behind me, I do see a lot of cars parked here, and a couple of businesses are open, but it's a very large shopping plaza, and I do see some businesses upstairs that probably have closed for the day. And as you heard April, she had to call all her clients and tell them, hey, don't come in today. A lot of people were having trouble getting here. We were met with some of that congestion traffic, so it's very difficult to get to this spot. It took us a very long time for something that should have been only a few minutes. Took us close to an hour to get here. So still the area is blocked off, and people are going to continue to see the congestion in this area as this investigation continues. Jackie.
Okay, Lorena, thanks for that live report. That's good information there. But at least some of those businesses are still open, like the pizza parlor that she was talking about there. But once again, now we're looking at live pictures right now. This is from the hospital, it looks like. This is over the hospital? Can they tell us? Yes, it looks like it,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Okay, so this is HCA Florida Kendall Regional, which is where we have been seeing all of the police vehicles that have shown up to show their support for this police officer. And Roxy, you know, this has been really incredible to watch. I mean, not from this vantage point, from the other one, when you see all of the support that they have received. Let's go to Sofia Hernandez. She's live there. And Sofia, you said it earlier, you hadn't seen something like this before.
No, Jackie, I haven't, and I can't imagine what the view might be from what you're seeing there from Chopper, because this is the scene that we're seeing here on the ground. Obviously, the Turnpike South on and off ramp here off of Bird Road is completely closed to traffic, as this presence of law enforcement vehicles, both marked and unmarked, are here on Bird Road. It looks like they'd be going south, not sure in which direction they will be traveling. And again, this appears to be a procession of some sort. We have yet to confirm that with the sheriff's office. We're expecting Sheriff Rosie Cordero to speak in a few moments here. We're actually getting set up to do so. So hopefully we'll be able to get some more answers as to the officer's condition, as to what took place, and again, this scene that's here behind me. But again, as you mentioned, it's quite a sight to see so much solidarity within different law enforcement agencies. We have Miami-Dade Police, Miami Police, unmarked vehicles as well, Coral Gables Police, Schools Police, FHP, FDLE. I mean, you name it, every agency is out here again for this procession and in solidarity of this officer who is here at the hospital. We hear Chopper, so I can imagine the view from up above has to be quite something. Again, traffic here on Bird Road on that on-off ramp of the Turnpike is closed off. We have behind my photographer here a media staging area where we are expected to hear from the sheriff in a few moments, again, as to the condition of the officer, what exactly took place, the chain of events that led to the shooting this afternoon, as well as, again, what's going to be taking place here in the next few moments or so. So as soon as we see her make her way towards us, I will let you ladies know so we can hear firsthand live exactly all the questions that we want to have answered.
Sophia, while you are outside there, just outside of Kendall HCA, you hear the chopper overhead. That is Chopper 6. And on the left of our screen here, what we see, that is the entrance to the emergency room of Kendall HCA. And we see motorcycles there from the motorman officers, and eerily similar to a scene that we saw here just a couple of weeks ago, where Officer Cahuso was at Rider Trauma, and we saw a similar scene where we saw officers from all sorts of agencies showing up and just showing their support and solidarity. Chopper 6 now pushing back and really showing us the impact here to the traffic at the exit here to Bird Road from the Turnpike, and traffic being detoured away. There's flashlights there, the officers there directing traffic away, and then on the left of your screen you see all of the patrol vehicles standing, waiting for information, and then that's the ground video that you see there on the right as well.
It looks like that is Bird Road, right? 40th Street, which is where the police officers have really closed down the lanes there and showing their solidarity for the police officer. But this is an amazing picture right now. We're looking on the left side of your screen. First of all, on the right part of it, you can see the traffic on the Turnpike moving southbound, which is really at a standstill until they pass that exit. And then that's the exit where the hospital is at, and you can see the police officers directing traffic. I mean, wow. But it's a snail's pace, really, because if you're thinking about all of those cars that are trying to get out of that exit there, and they're only allowing 1, 2, 3 cars to move and make that detour, and to make the U-turn back on, that you should pack your patience, because it really isn't moving.
Jackie, you made the point earlier today, I'm sorry, excuse me, you made the point not too long ago about how this hospital serves the community. This is a trauma response hospital. There are patients who are being seen here as well. There's other emergencies happening all across our community. So this is a busy hospital on any given day, and on a Friday night especially, right? And certainly the case here this evening. Chopper 6 there giving us a vantage point and showing us a few other of the municipalities that are responding today: Hialeah, Coral Gables, Sweetwater, Miami-Dade Public Schools as well. Jackie also painted a picture of what a Friday night on a long weekend looks like for locals here. You mentioned, and really talking about the impact that it is having to the community as far as traffic is concerned. A major artery is completely clogged this evening. The surface streets, as a result, are stopped as well, and that's going to make an impact. So, in addition to prayers, they're also asking for patience.
Absolutely, absolutely. You have people that travel the turnpike coming from Broward County onto Miami-Dade County. You have people that, from Bird Road to all of the exits going south. There are so many large communities. There are so many people that work further north that live in this area that are being impacted right now by traffic, and then other people that are just trying to get to the Keys for this weekend. And it is affecting everyone. And as you can see, as we pan out on this picture of the traffic, it is horrendous out there in terms of traffic. Look at that. You could only see white lights all the way for miles, stopped, no red lights. So this is impacting traffic, and this is southbound. We should reiterate southbound lanes. And then you're talking about also the Shula that is being impacted as well. The Don Shula Expressway is also being impacted. So you're talking about two major arteries that people drive every day that are being impacted right now.
Jackie, we have some new information, and we want our community to know that when we report something, we have done our due diligence, and this is a very sensitive situation, and we are checking with our sources before we give you information. We want to be correct, and we can now confirm that Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office is investigating this evening if this deputy was shot with his own gun during this altercation. I'll say that again. Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office is investigating if this deputy, who is currently at Kendall HCA Hospital, we are waiting to hear more information about their condition. The Sheriff's Office is investigating tonight if this deputy was shot with their own gun during this altercation with this suspect. So that is some new information that we can confirm to you this evening.
Well, that's one of the questions that we have. There are so many questions. First and foremost, obviously, the condition of that police officer, of that deputy. But what happened? What caused the altercation? What caused this officer to be shot? And now with this new information that quite possibly it could have been with his or her own gun. That could be very telling and a big part of this investigation as to what happened in that altercation and what led up to that altercation. We are getting word that we will be hearing from Sheriff Rosie Cordero Stutz soon with more information as to what transpired there on 122nd and 128th Street in that industrial warehouse area. What led up to it? What do we know? What evidence do they have? The condition of the police officer? Where do we go from here? There are so many questions right now. And when will these businesses open again?
This is a live look from Chopper 6. So what you see here, these are fire trucks, and they are setting up an American flag. That's what it looks like here, Jackie, outside of Kendall HCA Hospital, where we understand this sheriff's deputy was taken via ground transport, is inside of this hospital. We have seen a massive response here from the entire community here of the law enforcement. And just outside, we see these two fire trucks, and we see the ladders, and we see they're setting up what appears to be an American flag, a tribute flag. Just outside of the hospital.
We don't want to make any assumptions
Nope.
as to what that means. We just are reporting what we are seeing along with you, that there's a fire truck with an American flag. It's Miami-Dade Fire Rescue Truck as well, and agencies and police vehicles and emergency vehicles from different agencies throughout South Florida that have come there to the hospital with their lights on, and they are there to show their support for a fellow police officer, a fellow deputy. And we've seen the signs on those cars, on those vehicles, from all over, from Coral Gables, Hialeah, Sweetwater, Miami-Dade, FHP. They have all gathered there on Bird Road on 40th Street in front of HCA Florida Hospital, and now they are about to raise that American flag on that fire truck. We do not want to make any assumptions, Roxy, as to what that means. We can just say that this is all in solidarity of that deputy that is right now in that hospital.
Yeah, absolutely. We're just painting the picture. We're being very cautious here with the information that we are delivering here to you, with you. So we are just talking this out for you and with you. What we can tell you, the latest information that we can confirm, that we have confirmed, is that Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office is investigating as to whether the deputy that was shot this afternoon here in South Florida was shot with their own gun in this altercation that happened this afternoon. If you were just joining us here across our digital platforms here on NBC6, let's go ahead and do a little reset for you and break down what has unfolded here and what has happened in our community this Friday afternoon. There was a shooting that was reported, some sort of an altercation around 4 o'clock this afternoon was called in, 12242 Southwest 128th Street. That is Southwest Miami-Dade. That is the Three Lakes neighborhood. Lots of businesses, warehouses, lots of people who are, children in daycare, stores, gymnasiums. We know that there is a green Mustang that is in question, and we know that there is a yellow tarp over that, and we know that a Miami-Dade Sheriff's deputy was shot this afternoon and taken via ground transport here to Kendall HCA Hospital. A massive police presence, a massive investigation continues, massive delays here all over major arteries and surface streets as a result of that ongoing investigation, a perimeter that is still set up. And our focus here this evening is what is the condition of this deputy and what we have seen here. Jackie, when Chopper 6 pulled up, I think we both had the same reaction. We both were like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. This is emotional. This is powerful.
It sure is. And we could only describe it as a massive show of force, a massive show of solidarity for one of their colleagues, for one of their own that puts their lives on the line every day. And today, got shot in some sort of altercation in Southwest Miami-Dade, and this is the result. They have come together to show their support. The American flag is being raised right now as we speak. I mean, we're not looking at it right now, but we saw it just a few moments ago with all of these law enforcement vehicles with their lights on, showing their support. This is a show of force. Sofia Hernandez said she had never seen anything like this before. They have all transcended onto the hospital, HCA, Florida Kendall Regional Hospital, where that deputy is at. And it just looks amazing from this vantage point to see all of those lights. I hate to say it, but it really is a beautiful sight of support.
And that's the thing. That is the one thing that the law enforcement community shares. It's an incredible amount of respect, of dignity, of discipline, of camaraderie, of just responsibility here. And the one thing that they share, we hear it from the police directors, we hear it from public information officers, we hear it from officers that are friends that are that we speak to, right? They say, we know what we're doing every day. We serve and we protect. We put on the badge every single day. We know the sacrifice. So that's one thing that they know that they do. We understand that there's going to be a press conference from Sheriff Rosie Cordero-Stutz here from Kendall HCA Hospital in about 12 minutes or so, about 15 minutes. So we are standing by for that. Sofia Hernandez is on the ground. But what you're looking at here, this is a live view from overhead just outside of Kendall HCA Hospital. And again, you see that massive procession or law enforcement vehicles, municipalities from all across our community. The 2 Miami-Dade Fire Rescue, the ladders were raised, and that American flag, that tribute flag was just stripped. We don't want to speculate, but we're just painting the picture of what we see. And again, the newest information is that Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office is now investigating if that deputy was shot with their own gun during the altercation.
We heard from the Miami-Dade County Mayor showing her support as well for this deputy and talking about the responsibility that they have on their hands when they go out every day to do their job. We also heard from the Sheriff's Office asking for prayers from the community. But once again, this stems from an altercation, a shooting that happened in Southwest Miami-Dade on 122nd and 128th Street. A deputy involved shooting. We don't have many of the details other than the fact that that deputy may have been shot with his own gun. This is information that we are gathering right now, but there's not much more. We're awaiting word from the sheriff, Rosie Cordero Stutz, who will be giving a conference and will be giving us more information, hopefully some more answers to the questions that we have. First and foremost, the condition of that deputy right now, that we see all of these law enforcement vehicles that have come to the hospital to pay tribute, to pay their respects, to honor that officer that's there, and to show their support. And all we can say, it has been a show of force and a show of solidarity and a show of support for this police officer from the Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office. This has been awesome to watch, really, when you look at it. They have closed down the street, and there are dozens and dozens of vehicles right now with their lights on, paying tribute to this officer, showing support, willing that police officer right now, as we wait for the sheriff to discuss what happened, what transpired, and the condition of that officer. Trina Robinson is now joining me here on the desk. What have you been able to learn as you were out in the newsroom, Trina?
There's a lot going on behind the scenes, and of course, once the sheriff comes out and gives us more information, we can confirm a lot more of what we believe transpired. But again, that latest news of that maybe that deputy may have been shot with his own service revolver. So of course, we'll be waiting for confirmation on that. Then also the condition or whereabouts of the suspects, and just what led up to this argument or this fight, this altercation that supposedly was the impetus, the jumping off of this officer being shot and then having to be rushed to the hospital by his fellow officers.
Right, and we have seen agencies, law enforcement from different agencies that have arrived there in front of the hospital. We've been talking about it, but from what we've been able to ascertain from our vantage point, we've seen, obviously from Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office, we saw Florida Highway Patrol there. We saw some cars from the Coral Gables Police Department, from Sweetwater Police, from Hialeah. They have all transcended on the hospital right now, right? The street in front of that hospital, if you're familiar with this area, that is the continuation of Bird Road, so 40th Street, right off of the Turnpike and 117th Avenue, and they have shut down that road right now as we speak. And as you can see from Chopper 6, you can see the amount of vehicles that are there supporting the deputy that's at the hospital. You can see the American flag that was raised just a few moments ago. A fire truck was there from Miami-Dade Fire and raised that beautiful American flag as well, all in solidarity, coming together in unity for that officer that is there in the hospital right now.
And again, you can see just a contingency, a massive showing of force and support and love on this somber situation where we have a deputy in the hospital fighting for his life. We don't know a lot about what happened, but of course, we're going to keep you posted on all of this. And we've got more right now on the NBC6 app and on NBC6.com.
NBC6 News at 7 starts with breaking news.
And we continue to follow that breaking news tonight out of Southwest Miami-Dade. That's where a Miami-Dade Sheriff's deputy was shot and is in the hospital right now.
And you're taking a live look right now. And let's go to the hospital right now, where Sofia Hernandez is right now. Well, we're seeing the scene over the hospital and just all kinds of law enforcement from all over the area. And then also many people stuck in the traffic from all of this that transpired around 4:20 this afternoon, when the officer apparently got into an argument with someone. We don't know what happened or the circumstances behind it, but that MDSO deputy was shot during the altercations. His brothers and sisters in arms, and I use a male term, but we don't know if it's a woman or a man, was then rushed to the hospital by fellow officers and is in the hospital. And right now we're looking at Southwest Miami-Dade live from Chopper 6, seeing this massive, just unbelievable contingency of support for this officer. We are waiting on Sheriff Rosie Cordero-Stutz to speak and give us an update on exactly what happened and also on the condition of that officer, the deputy. And you can see that microphones have been set up waiting for her to come to the microphone and really inform the entire community as to what happened. How could something so horrible happen? You're on a regular Friday afternoon and you think, oh, we're just headed to the weekend. And then all of a sudden this happens. Unfortunately, this community has been here before, many times before over the years, with officer-involved shootings where officers are sent to the hospital. Some survive, some don't. We're not going to speculate or insinuate the condition of this officer, but right now we know it's a grave situation and he was rushed into surgery.
As we wait for the sheriff, Rosie Cordero-Stutz, to give us a briefing as to what happened and the information. And first and foremost, the most important part is the condition of that police officer that is right now in the hospital in HCA, Florida, Kendall Regional Hospital on Bird Road and 117th. And as you can see, this is the result of all of the officers and law enforcement coming together to show support for that police officer. It all stemmed from that altercation that we've been talking about that happened about 4 o'clock this afternoon at 12242 Southwest 128th Street. Now, this is an industrial district. There are many warehouses in this district. Now, something happened, some sort of altercation between the deputy and the subject or subjects. Now, we are getting word that perhaps the deputy was shot with his own gun. Those are the reports that we are following. But that deputy was transported to HCA, Florida Regional, Kendall Regional Hospital. And we can report that that MDSO deputy is a male. It is a he, and he is the one that was shot today shortly after 4 o'clock this afternoon. He was taken to the hospital. We don't know his condition. We are awaiting word from the sheriff right now, Rosie Cordero-Stutz. But we can tell you that this has impacted South Florida in a big way, not only because a deputy was shot, but because traffic has been pretty much at a standstill on the Florida Turnpike, specifically on the southbound lanes in South Miami-Dade. And people trying to get home have been impacted in a big way because traffic is literally stopped on the turnpike.
So Jackie, let's get out to Lorena Inclán. She is on the ground. It took her a while to get there, but she is in the vicinity. Lorena, what do you know? What can you update us on this situation?
Well, Trina, this is as close as we can get to the scene, but for the past 30 minutes to an hour or so, we've been seeing deputies here try to let traffic flow as much as possible. They're not letting people get much farther than this. We're on 128th Street and 127th Avenue for reference. So people have been driving through here all day, but they can't get much farther. They cannot pass. They cannot go further than 127th Avenue. Can you hear me in the studio?
Lorena.
Okay, yes, I wasn't sure if you could hear me, but yes, so people have been driving through here, and this area has been blocked off since we have gotten here. There is a large shopping plaza right behind our camera, and a lot of people have been looking on, trying to see if they can get some information. A short while ago, I did speak with a business owner. Her name is April, and here's what she told us.
I own a business actually right in the front, wax house, and I was actually getting material for where the scene of the situation happened, and all I heard was just gunshots and then a swarm of police officers coming to the scene of the accident. From what I understood, it happened in the public shopping center, and then when I looked at my Ring camera to see what actually happened, it was a suspect who shot at a police and then decided to end his life afterwards, and then I guess he had a friend or another suspect that was there that had fled the scene.
And we're still working to confirm a lot of these details, but after you heard those gunshots, describe to me what you saw.
I mean, honestly, in this community, you don't really hear any of those things. So my first reaction was to tell the rest of my clients for the day to stay home and for their safety to please stay home, because my first priority is always that, the safety of others. So that was my first priority. And my second one was to come and close my business to make sure that everything was okay.
You said earlier you were there to gather some items for your business. Describe that area back there.
Well, there's a Publix shopping center and a Dollar Tree, so I was getting cleaning materials from Publix when I heard the gunshots happen. And then to confirm, my partner's friend, who also works in that area, said that he also heard gunshots. So it was a confirmation that something definitely had happened.
Back out here live, a lot of people shaken this afternoon. I can tell you there's a sense of heaviness around this area as people walk by. The news has been spreading that a deputy was shot, and certainly people are feeling for that deputy's family, passing by here just shaking their head and saying this is terrible, this is terrible. It really is terrible what happened this afternoon here. And as we learn more details, people are just shocked to find out what happened earlier. But this area has caused a lot of traffic congestion. It took us a very long time to get here, but this is as far as we can get. The scene is still further down, but we can't get much further than that. As you can see, it is blocked off by deputies right now. Back to you in the studio.
And Lorena, I just wanted you to paint a picture of where you're at right now, because you're fairly close to the scene, even though they've moved you away. But we keep reporting that it was an industrial area, that there are a lot of businesses in the area. But Valerie told us that there's also some apartment buildings that are close by. Can you tell us what you're seeing from your vantage point?
Well, the first thing we saw when we pulled up was this big shopping plaza. There's a restaurant here, a pizza restaurant. There's a tax business. I'm just looking behind our camera right here. And then, but when we look behind me, there is an auto shop that I can see just across the street here on 128th Street, Southwest 128th Street and Southwest 127th Avenue. That is the exact corner where I am standing right now. There is what looks like a wooded area to my left right now. And then behind here, I can't really see because the trees are kind of tall there. But there are several businesses here. I do not see any apartment complexes where we are right now, but we would still need to get further down to see what is there. But definitely a lot of businesses. This area, a lot of people drive through here, a lot of homes not too far from here. So it is usually congested with traffic at peak hour, rush hour. But this situation added another layer of complication for a lot of people who were getting out of work and maybe not realizing that there was a large police investigation happening after a deputy was shot earlier today. Back to you, Jackie.
Lorena, this is Trina in the studio as well. Can I take you back to that interview with April? Because did she say she had Ring video showing exactly what happened, the deputy being shot, and then something else transpiring after that?
I'm glad you brought that up, Trina, because I did clarify with her after I did that interview live for us. And she said what she was referring to was that apparently in the Ring app, you can send messages. And so what she was referring to is that she went into the Ring app and saw that people were sending messages to each other within the app. So not necessarily a video, but more so a message between neighbors as other people heard these gunshots. And so they were messaging within the app saying, hey, this is what I'm hearing. What are you hearing? And so they were going back and forth. And that's what she was referring to. So not necessarily a video, but thank you for bringing that up because I did want to clarify that with our viewers, Trina.
Yeah, I'm sure the police will want to know if there is any actual Ring video of what happened so they can use that in this investigation.
Yeah, if there are businesses there, I'm sure they will be able to tap into some of those videos that businesses have. And you were talking about that pizza parlor, that pizza restaurant, and that it is open. So some of those businesses are open at this hour there?
Yes, when we drove up, that business was open. There were a few customers in there as well, and I see people coming out of the shopping plaza, whether they're customers or employees. But people are continually just coming in and out, taking a look at this scene, and then going back or walking further down because there's only a few places where you could really go. I wonder if Fernando, our photojournalist, can pan the camera to my left, our viewers' right. You can see down this street here. This is 127th Avenue, what you're looking down, but you could see this area is also a bit congested too. There are a few large trucks standing there, so not a lot of people going down this road, but you can see some people are leaving the shopping plaza right now. So it's still pretty active out here, but almost everyone here at the shopping plaza has come out here to speak to us, to take a look at what's going on, and just to kind of learn more about this tragic situation that happened earlier today in a neighborhood where, as you heard April earlier, it doesn't generally happen. I mean, she was shocked when she heard those gunshots, and she said, you know, it's just startling, and then also affecting her business as well. She had to call her clients to let them know, hey, don't come here. She wanted to make sure that they were safe, as well as her own safety here at this salon. Her business is within a salon that also had to shut down early.
We saw a car and actually another one right behind you. So are they allowing cars to exit from the businesses? Because we also saw some people walking, but right behind you there's a car.
Yes, so some people are able to get out of the shopping plaza here, and they can go down 128th Street further down the road. And they actually, so it looks like this deputy here is probably telling them that they could keep going forward, but they cannot pass 127th Avenue. That is what's blocked right now. What you're seeing right here, Fernando is showing you cars making a right onto 128th Street. So that's what they're doing. They're allowed to do that, but they cannot make a left to go past where the deputies are. So as we pan over, you could see that blockage right there. They are on 128th Street. To give our viewers an idea, if you have family or friends in this area, you're trying to get to this area, it's going to be very difficult. There's only so many places where you could actually go, and the deputies here are doing a great job in trying to keep the traffic flowing as much as possible.
Okay, Lorena, what a night. We've got some new information we want to bring to you right now. What we can report, there was some sort of altercation is what we've been telling you. And during that altercation, the suspect shot the officer at least once. Now, MDSO is trying to determine if that deputy who's now in the hospital was shot with his own gun. Now, at that same scene, at least one of the two suspects was found dead. Now, police are investigating how he died. Whether he took his own life is uncertain and unclear as to the number of suspects, but right now we know one suspect is dead and maybe another one is unaccounted for or maybe in custody. We don't know the full extent of that, but we do have some more clarification that that officer may have been shot with his own gun and that another suspect is dead.
And that the suspect shot at the officer at least one time, and that officer is now at the hospital, and we are awaiting word from Sheriff Rosie Cordero Stutz to give us more information, because we are, you know, it's trickling down into the newsroom, the information that we can report, and we want to be very, very careful because there is an officer's life on the line. So we really have to be very careful. And of course, all of those officers and law enforcement on the scene that are awaiting word as well as to the condition of the officer that was sent to that hospital. There are dozens and dozens of police vehicles there with their lights on, and they are also awaiting word as to what happened and the condition of their colleague, their fellow police officer, that, as they all do. And Miami-Dade Mayor Danilo Levine Cava said they put their lives on the line every day to protect our community. And they're also asking for our prayers, the community's prayers, for that officer that's in the hospital. In the meantime, we are awaiting that conference. We have reporters Sofia Hernandez at the hospital. She's also awaiting word, talking to different individuals as to what they know and what they've seen. And we also have Lorena Inclán and Valerie Ryan. They are close to the scene, as close as they can get to the scene right now, because there are a lot of road closures around the scene, which is 122nd Avenue and 128th Street. On the right side of your screen, that is where the sheriff will be speaking to the media and to the community as to what happened, and giving us a lot of answers to the many questions that we have right now as to what happened earlier today at 4 o'clock this afternoon, just over 3 hours ago, when we got word that a police officer had been shot. That officer from the Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office. We have been able to confirm all of that. What we don't know at this point is the condition of that officer, and that is the most important information right now that we are waiting to hear, Trina.
Yeah, but we're still watching this river of lights of different officers and police and troopers from all over the area. And of course, we're also told that the FBI is on location, and they may be on location because of the nature of what happened prior to the shooting. But whatever happened, it sent a young deputy to the hospital. He is there now, and we are awaiting that news conference. And also, many of his brothers and sisters in blue and in brown are also awaiting any word on his condition. And of course, as soon as we know his identity and can confirm it and release it to you, we will. Of course, his family has to be contacted. They have to get there before any information can be released about his condition and how he's doing and where we go from here. Rosie Cordero-Stutz, the sheriff, is going to be speaking shortly. Again, we've got the lectern all set up. Our teams are there waiting for her to speak so we can see exactly what transpired and what happened that left an officer shot and in the hospital fighting for his life.
And as we look at the scene in front of the hospital, I'm counting several dozen law enforcement vehicles that are on the scene, and we saw that American flag right there to the left, upper left side of your screen. You can see a fire truck, and they have raised the American flag there as well. This is all happening in front of the hospital. But as we see this scene, there's a different type of scene on 122nd and 128th, and that is the scene of where the shooting happened. We saw a mobile command unit. We saw several law enforcement there as well. As the investigation continues, they are gathering evidence. We saw canines there as well. They have cordoned off that area, looking for clues, looking for evidence, because they have to be very thorough, especially when there is an officer involved in a shooting there. But this is what we're looking at right now. This is the show of solidarity right now from officers all over South Florida, Miami-Dade, Monroe, and Broward County. They have all come here to show their support for their fellow officer. But also, this is impacting South Floridians who are trying to get home today. It is now 7:17. This is just over 3 hours ago when this incident happened. And there are many street closures, but there's also a major artery that's being affected, and that's the Florida Turnpike on the southbound lanes. It is moving at a snail's pace, and that is for miles and miles just off of the 40th Street exit, of the Bird Road exit of the Florida Turnpike. So from there all the way north, it is being impacted in a big way, and residents in South Florida that are trying to get south, they're having a problem getting home. And even all the way to Broward County, this is affecting traffic.
Yes,
and not only on the
is.
Turnpike, but also on the Don Shula. And people taking alternate routes. So that is affecting traffic as well on the Palmetto Expressway, because people are just trying to get out of this mess and trying to get home.
Yeah, all because a deputy was shot doing his job. We're not exactly sure what happened that led up to the shooting, but we know he was shot at least once, rushed to the hospital by his fellow officers. And right now we do know that let's get out to Valerie Ryan. She is closer to the scene with what she knows at this point. Valerie, can you hear us?
Yeah, Trina, Jackie, I wanted to give you a live look at the traffic. Now, when we last spoke, I was at Southwest 130th and Southwest 127th. So that was about 2 blocks from the scene. We were able to see, cars that had been stuck in traffic for 2 hours, unable to move because police officers had blocked off the area. No one was being allowed in or out. If you were on the inside of the tape, you were not allowed to come out as police conduct this investigation, the sheriff's office. We were hoping to get a little bit closer, and just a testament. I want to show you. I'm going to turn the camera around. A testament as to what this traffic in the area looks like. We're on Southwest 117th right now, trying to get as close as we can to the scene, and you can see all these cars here just, trying to get home on this Friday evening. I'm going to flip the camera behind me. As you can see, there's even more traffic behind us. We've seen a bunch of roads closed off. It's really been a difficult day, and as you've seen that chopper video that shows all of that traffic along the highway as this investigation continues. Now, we're trying to get, like we said, as close as we can again to the scene, but people that we've been talking to are frustrated, just trying to get home. Now, back at where we were at Southwest 130th and Southwest 127th, in that near that industrial area.
Okay, let's go now to Sheriff Rosie Cordero-Stutz with the latest on the investigation.
I want to start out by saying that today is not okay. What happened today in Miami-Dade County and to our deputy was not okay. And today will never be okay. I ask our community to pray for the family of our fallen deputy, to pray for all of us, because we're family and we are hurting. I ask this community to pray for our community. Pray so that we can find a way that things like this never happen again. Our deputy, Devin Jaramillo, responded to a traffic crash. And when he responded there, he was brutally attacked and he was murdered. Samaritans called 911 and deputies responded to provide first aid. And they worked him until he was transported here to this hospital and he succumbed to his injuries. He's not only a deputy, he's a son, he is a brother, and he is a friend. I want to thank all of our fellow law enforcement agencies that have stepped up today to help us, to support us, to send words of encouragement. The next few days are going to be very difficult for us, and we will still continue to make this county safe. But I remind you all, as my final word here, what happened to our deputy is not okay. He gave the ultimate sacrifice, his life, defending us, defending you. And we need to understand as a society and as a community that that is just unacceptable. We will not accept that ever. I am grateful for the words of support, and I thank everybody again who has in their own way reached out to show their support and love. And I'm grateful to the men and women who provide the safety to our community every single day. Thank you very much.
You have been listening to Sheriff Rosie Cordero Stutz, a very emotional sheriff, starting with today is not okay. And that is because Deputy Devin Jaramillo was shot and killed, and in her words, brutally murdered after a traffic stop. He was brutally murdered and died, succumbed to his injuries, Trina.
And he looks like a very young man. Apparently, he went to a traffic stop to respond to a crash, and he was attacked there and then shot and killed. He was rushed to the hospital with grave injuries, and it's just unbelievable that you could respond to a traffic accident and be shot. But he was shot, he succumbed to those injuries. The sheriff also said, pray for our fallen deputy because they are hurting. And you saw she was choked up, and other deputies behind her were even crying, wiping away tears. And it is a tearful day when something like this happened. Someone who's serving the community, doing their job, will not go home to their family tonight.
Something as a traffic stop, Trina, led to the death of this young man, of Deputy Devin Jaramillo. He looks like a young man, and as she mentioned, a son, a brother, and a friend. She was shaken up, and she should be shaken up.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, and she's asking the community, and as a society, that this has to stop, that this is not okay. When one of their own is shot and killed in broad daylight.
Just for doing their job.
Just for doing their job.
So we do know that one of the suspects was, I want to say, died at the scene. We're not exactly sure how. We're getting conflicting reports on exactly whether that person took their life or they were shot. We also she didn't really clear up whether or not Officer Jaramillo was actually shot with his own service revolver. Of course, FDLE will be basically taking over this investigation eventually. There are a lot of crime scene techs on the scene right now, still gathering information. But it is just a very sad and tragic day that a young man like this, a police officer who signed up to protect this community and fellow citizens, is now no longer with us because someone shot and killed him when he was just there to do his job. And obviously, responding to a traffic accident, he was going to help someone.
Trina, we do have some more information on this officer, Devin Jaramillo. He was a deputy with the Kendall District at MDSO, and he was only 27 years old. 27 years old. We know that he graduated from the University of Central Florida with a degree in criminal justice in 2019. That's just 6 years ago. So this seemed to be his calling. This is what he studied. And we also saw people from the Coral Gables Police Department there. He was a previous police officer for Coral Gables who received Officer of the Month in July of 2023. That's according to Coral Gables Police Department. It's unbelievable. 27 years old, Trina.
And there's some indication that he may come from a law enforcement family. So this is something
he was.
that, yes.
His father, David Jaramillo, is a retired Miami-Dade Police Department detective.
And was the head of the Hispanic Association
Yes.
of Officers. So just so sad. I mean, this just has tentacles throughout our community. And for someone to fire rounds at a police officer in the middle of an intersection when they're responding to a traffic accident, that impacts other people as well. The trauma those people are feeling to now know that this young officer in his 20s is gone, and to witness a horror of a shooting in the middle of a traffic accident.
And in the middle of this tragedy, hope. And when you see the show of solidarity on the left side of your screen and you see that American flag, it was raised by his fellow police officers, emergency people that came out to show their solidarity, to show their support. From all different agencies throughout South Florida, they went to that hospital to show their support for Deputy Devin Jaramillo, who is now deceased, shot and killed in broad daylight in Southwest Miami-Dade after a traffic stop. And this is the result of it. This is what we know, that these police officers put their life on the line on any given day, not knowing that a simple traffic stop can lead to the death of a police officer.
But we know that the FBI is also involved in this. What would prompt somebody to shoot an officer in the midst of a traffic stop? I mean, plenty of us have been stopped in traffic for one reason or another, a fender bender or whatever. You don't get out and draw your gun, and even to draw your gun and shoot an officer. So a lot of questions here still, and I'm sure the sheriff was just too heartbroken and just upset to elaborate further. And again, the investigation has only begun, but this is a sad night for our entire community to lose a young officer like this in the prime of his life, just doing his job, doing probably what he loved and maybe what he always wanted to do since his dad was also in law enforcement. Roxy.
Trina, it's so heartbreaking. We heard the Sheriff Rosie Cordero Stutz. The first thing she said as she was walking up to brief the community on what unfolded today on the streets of our community, she said, "Today is not okay, and today will never be okay." She echoed what Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office posted on social media, asking for prayers. She said, "We need you to pray for us, and we need you to pray that we could find a way that something like this never happens again. Pray for our community. Pray for all of us." And again, a leader in our community, once again, calling on the community for prayers. But Trina, of course, as we continue to learn more about Devin Jaramillo. Obviously an incredible impact here to the community when we see the show of solidarity, Trina, when we see immediately the response of officers not only showing up to the scene, but of course turning to the hospital as soon as Chopper 6 arrived there on scene. And we just saw from overhead the incredible response of officers from so many different municipalities. We said, wow, this is incredible. This deputy really made an impact, and he sure did. And she said it. And there's one thing that all of these officers have in common. They know what they sign up for. They put their lives on the line every single day. They do not know what they are going to encounter when they patrol our streets to keep us safe, which is what the sheriff said today. He died today, keeping you safe, keeping this community safe. A traffic stop that escalated this way, and a 27-year-old, as a result, serving our community, has lost his life today.
Some of the reports we're getting is that the person who shot this officer, this deputy, may have been locked and loaded, had a number of firearms in the car. We don't know why that person would shoot an officer, but this does not sound good as far as a motive to shoot an officer. Were they concealing something else? And with that amount of firearms that may be on the scene, that is probably one of the reasons why the FBI is involved. Maybe this was some part of a bigger situation. But again, it started with an altercation at that traffic stop that Officer Jaramillo had just responded to try and help folks out. During that altercation, when he got there, the suspect shot the officer at least once. MDSO is trying to determine if the deputy was shot with his own gun. We do not know whether or not he was shot with his own gun or another gun, but we do know tonight that a young 27-year-old officer who studied law enforcement, who probably this was his life's ambition, is dead tonight, no longer with us, and a whole community and all of law enforcement really in the state, and I would say even the country at this point, are mourning the loss of this young man.
Deputy Jaramillo, you see his images there on the right of your screen, and on the left, this is just outside of Kendall HCA Hospital. Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office has confirmed this evening that the body of Deputy Jaramillo will be brought to the medical examiner's office. Not too sure of a specific time, but that is a confirmation here from MDSO this evening. Unfortunately, Trina, we cover situations like this. So normally what happens, the course of action in a situation like this, and the reason why we see all the officers, law enforcement from all sorts of different municipalities lined up at a ready outside, why we have seen the 2 fire ladders, why we have seen that tribute flag outside, is because we are expecting the body of Officer Jaramillo to be put into the back of a Miami-Dade fire rescue vehicle, then taken to the medical examiner's office, and then the procession from motormen, the procession from the patrol vehicles, from friends, from colleagues, will then escort the body of Jaramillo, Deputy Jaramillo, to the medical examiner's office.
So, Roxy, we are getting confirmation that, in fact, for sure, there is video out there that appears to show the argument and then the suspect, the assailant, shooting the officer with his own gun. And so that is why Deputy Devin Jaramillo, a 27-year-old officer, is no longer with us tonight.
And we are choosing not to air that video. And in a world of social media where everybody has a phone, the first thing people do these days is take out a phone and take pictures and take video. That's just the day and age that we live in. There's a lot of noise out there, which is why we thank you for turning to us. We sift through the noise, we break down the facts, and we bring it to you. There is video, and we are choosing to not show it because it is alarming to watch. So we can confirm, as Trina just said, that video does show this suspect clearly pulling the weapon from Deputy Jaramillo and using it, and we are choosing not to show it, obviously out of respect for his family and for the community as well.
All right, let's listen in to once again from Sheriff Rosie Cordero-Stutz. She spoke very emotionally about what happened tonight and gave us that message: this cannot happen again. Let's listen in.
I want to start out by saying that today is not okay. What happened today in Miami-Dade County and to our deputy was not okay. And today will never be okay. I ask our community to pray for the family of our fallen deputy, to pray for all of us, because we're a family and we are hurting. I ask this community to pray for our community. Pray so that we can find a way that things like this never happen again. Our deputy, Devin Jaramillo, responded to a traffic crash. And when he responded there, he was brutally attacked and he was murdered. Samaritans called 911 and deputies responded to provide first aid. And they worked him until he was transported here to this hospital and he succumbed to his injuries. He's not only a deputy, he's a son, he is a brother, and he is a friend.
And that was Sheriff Rosie Cordero Stutz of the Miami Sheriff's Office. Very choked up, very poignant, very upset about what happened to that young officer. And again, apparently there was a fight, a struggle, an argument, an altercation at a traffic crash, and it led to young officer, 27-year-old Devin Jaramillo, being shot with his own weapon. Deputies tried to save him, rushed him from the scene, didn't even wait for the ambulance, took him right to the hospital. But unfortunately, he died from that gunshot wound that he suffered at that scene from the suspect.
Trina, Miami Beach Police Chief Wayne Jones, he just posted on behalf of the Miami Beach Police Department. We just heard from Chief Jones a couple of weeks ago at Rider Trauma, speaking on behalf of his department, mourning the loss of Officer Cajuso, who died in a motorcycle accident. And Chief Jones just posted his condolences on behalf of the Miami Beach Police Department, saying they join the law enforcement family in mourning the tragic loss of Deputy Devin Jaramillo of the Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office, who passed away today, offering prayers in solidarity as well. Just incredible today, the how this event's unfolded. A crash in Southwest Miami-Dade. Deputy Jaramillo doing his job, doing his due diligence, responding. And then this ensued today. Deputy Jaramillo, 27 years young. You just saw his image there on your screen. To the left, that is a camera from the ground where we could see some of the vehicles lined up. And to the right, we see the two ladders up and the American tribute flag, where we will await to see the motorcade accompany the body of Deputy Jaramillo to the medical examiner's office at some point this evening.
Yeah, and this just is a gut punch for the entire community. Of course, law enforcement is feeling it more than anyone else because it's just inexplicable how something like this happens. You're doing your job, you respond to a traffic crash to help someone, and you end up getting shot and never going home to your family and your loved ones. We thank him for his service. Such a young man who, of course, this probably was his lifelong ambition, since his dad also was in law enforcement. But he will be missed, he will be honored, and this is just the beginning of a long investigation. And even though social media can sometimes be very negative, in this sense, with people getting that video, hopefully it will help in this investigation so there are no answers or no questions that aren't answered and delved into, because the video is there to see exactly how this young man was gunned down.
A deputy, a son, a brother, a friend, a member of this community who graduated from the University of Central Florida with a degree in criminal justice. He graduated in 2019. We saw a lot of vehicles, of patrol vehicles from the city of Coral Gables, and that's because he was with Coral Gables Police Department and he received Officer of the Month in July of 2023. A passion for serving this community. He was recognized by the Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office for well-conducted traffic stop in August of this year. But today was a traffic crash that happened in Southwest Miami-Dade that ended with this altercation ensued. And he was, and I'm going to quote here, the sheriff who said it was a cruel attack and he was murdered. And by the way, it's important to note that that scene right now, even though what we're looking at is just outside of Kendall HCA Hospital, it's important to note that that scene in Southwest Miami-Dade in the Three Lakes neighborhood, to be specific, 12242 Southwest 128th Street, that is a very active scene. That entire area for blocks on all sides is closed down. There is a police mobile command unit that has been set up. We saw markers all over the ground. We saw the FBI there. Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office was there. As a result, the Turnpike southbound on the exit there, it is closed. Southwest 128th, that is a direct on and off ramp to the Turnpike. So that is a heavily congested area on any day, at any time for the most part. And as a result, I want you to know that that area continues to be congested and will be, I mean, Trina, the anatomy of a death investigation, especially when it involves law enforcement, a police officer, a deputy this evening, it'll be closed down for hours.
Yes, it will be. And there are still probably many people who work in that area or who were in that vicinity to shop or what have you, who may still be trapped. So if you have loved ones who were in that vicinity and they haven't made it home yet, they may be still in the midst of the lockdown in that area as you know, the investigation continues. We do see cars slowly moving through the area, but very, very slowly. And of course, in the area where all of the law enforcement are, near the hospital and where the flag is raised, it's probably an impossibility to get in or out of that area. And again, let's just recap a little bit. This jumped off around, say, 4:20, 4:30 this afternoon. Reports of a deputy shot. We now know that the deputy got into a physical fight, an altercation, an argument, fisticuffs with someone at a traffic crash that he had merely responded to doing his job. He probably got a call on his radio saying that there was an accident. He rolled over there to give assist, to lend a hand, figure out what was going on. During that, the fight ensued. He got shot. His fellow officers felt that the situation was so grave that they couldn't even wait for the ambulance, and they just put him in the squad car and rushed him to the hospital, where we now know that he died from Sheriff Rosie Cordero Stutz. Just a very sad day for our community. Just a sad and senseless day where you look for some consolation, some explanation for this crazy violence that just should never, ever happen.
From just outside of Kendall HCA Hospital, we want to take you closer to the scene with Lorena Inclán, who's been there speaking with business owners, with members of the community, getting a better idea of what's happening closer to the scene. Lorena, take us there. What can you tell us?
Well, right now, this area still continues to be blocked off. You can see deputies working here. However, they have started to let a few people go eastbound on 128th Street, but it still remains blocked off. They are telling cars they have to go elsewhere. Some people were confused, and I saw a little while ago there was a bit of a confusion between the deputy and one of the drivers that was trying to go beyond their squad cars. But we're on 128th Street and 127th Avenue. As you can see, this area continues blocked off. But earlier, I did get to speak with a business owner who works nearby. She happened to be near where the shooting happened when she was getting some supplies for her business, and she heard the gunshots. Take a listen to what she told me earlier.
I own a business actually right in the front, wax house, and I was actually getting material for where the scene of the situation happened, and all I heard was just gunshots and then a swarm of police officers coming to the scene of the accident. From what I understood, it happened in the public shopping center. And then when I looked at my Ring camera to see what actually happened, it was a suspect who shot at a police and then decided to end his life afterwards. And then I guess he had a friend or another suspect that was there that had fled the scene.
And we're still working to confirm a lot of these details, but after you heard those gunshots, describe to me what you saw.
I mean, honestly, in this community, you don't really hear any of those things. So my first reaction was to tell the rest of my clients for the day to stay home and for their safety to please stay home, because my first priority is always that, the safety of others. So that was my first priority. And my second one was to come and close my business to make sure that everything was okay.
You said earlier you were there to gather some items for your business. Describe that area back there.
Well, there's a Publix shopping center and a Dollar Tree, so I was getting cleaning materials from Publix when I heard the gunshots happen. And then to confirm, my partner's friend, who also works in that area, said that he also heard gunshots. So it was a confirmation that something definitely had happened.
Back out here live, you can imagine how startling, how scary it was around that time, around 4 in the afternoon, to hear those gunshots in an area you'd never expect that to happen. And then to hear these details that this deputy was responding to a traffic crash when, according to Sheriff Rosie Cordero Stutz, she said he was brutally attacked and then, in her words, murdered. Learning all those details, truly shocking about what transpired here earlier today in broad daylight on a Friday, when people are just starting to get out of their jobs, starting to get the weekend going, and then to hear such a tragic event happen in an area that is surrounded by a lot of people. You heard that she heard those gunshots, so a lot of people did as well. And you can imagine there probably were some other witnesses around that area as well who saw all this happen. But it's also led to a lot of traffic. We took a long time to get here because there was traffic everywhere you went. A few miles away took you 40+ minutes to get there. You can see this is still blocked off, although I have seen a couple of people, if you have some business here, or they're talking to some people, and maybe some have been able to pass by, but for the most part, you cannot go eastbound further than 127th Avenue here on 128th Street, and 127th Avenue is the exact corner where we're standing right now. Back to you in the studio.
All right, Lorena, thank you so much for that live report and that additional information. It's just a mind-numbing situation that a young officer, only 27 years old, could go to respond to help people at a traffic accident, end up in a fight, and hours later ends up dead.
And Lorena was painting a picture of the businesses there and people who work there. And we heard from Sheriff Rosie Cordero Stutz say Good Samaritans are the ones that called 911 while his fellow officers worked on him. And then he was transported via the ground to Kendall HCA close by. Lorena was talking about the traffic impacts here, so I want to break it down for you because it's certainly impacting a major part of our community. Southwest 120th Street and the Turnpike remains closed. Southwest 122nd Avenue, it is shut down between Southwest 120th Street and 128th Street, so 8 blocks there. And then Southwest 128th Street is closed between 122nd Avenue and 125th Avenue. So a major closure there, a very large radius in our area. And as a result, the southbound lanes, there's a map for some perspective for you. We've been checking in. We know that the southbound lanes of the Turnpike on the exit there, 228th, that is just, it was like a parking lot there. So obviously detours around the area. Anybody that was trying to get Kendall HCA Hospital, a very busy hospital, a trauma hospital as well, with patients that need to be seen, other emergencies happening in our community. The exit ramps from the Turnpike there to Bird Road was congested. It was backed up. It was a parking lot. Obviously, the procession that we are anticipating to happen soon, as a live look here. As we look west here at the tribute flag raised up high, law enforcement responding from all sorts of different municipalities as the body of Deputy Jaramillo will be escorted to the medical examiner's office this evening.
And we presume that this is going to take a little bit now. So unfortunately, the folks who are in that area who haven't been able to get out probably won't be able to get out anytime soon. Just in looking at the sea of red and blue lights from law enforcement, just literally dozens, maybe even hundreds of them there to escort his body to the medical examiner's office. So folks, just be patient. This is not normal. It's not okay, as the sheriff said. And unfortunately, you're just going to have to be patient until this kind of winds down for the evening and his body is taken away. But our prayers and thoughts are with his family. His dad is in law enforcement, retired. This must be just a horrific night for his family and anyone who knew him or worked with him, because you never expect, even they know their job is dangerous, but you never expect to probably go to a traffic crash and end up in a fist fight and end up dead. So it's just not good, it's not normal, and society just has to do better.
A deputy, a brother, a friend to so many. We do want to share some video. This is emotional. This is video of Deputy Jaramillo being awarded the Officer of the Month award when he worked for the Coral Gables Police Department. This was in July of 2023, according to Coral Gables Police Department. Officer Jaramillo apprehended a package theft suspect, and he was able to clear out 3 other theft cases. And as a result, this is video that we're sharing with you of when he was with the Coral Gables Police Department. So this is when he received this honor of being awarded Officer of the Month in July of 2023. And that is a video that you see Chief Hudak giving him the award. And then he speaks there. So this is video that we found in our archives, one of the many stories that we do recognizing our law enforcement. But on this evening, tough to see that, but one of his many accolades, Trina.
Yeah, and obviously very diligent and loved what he did and did it well enough that he was awarded and recognized for it. So many in this community will miss him tonight. People who don't even know him, I'm sure, are praying for his family and are just shaken by this whole situation. I don't even want to start to think about the trauma of people who were in and around that traffic crash, who witnessed this horrific incident. But as days and time goes on, we'll learn more of exactly what transpired, because apparently there is so much video out there of what took place.
This evening, we heard from Sheriff Rosie Cordero about 20-30 minutes ago. She had very strong words to say. We want to listen to a snippet of what the sheriff had to say to the community this evening.
I want to thank all of our fellow law enforcement agencies that have stepped up today to help us, to support us, to send words of encouragement. The next few days are going to be very difficult for us, and we will still continue to make this county safe. But I remind you all, as my final word here, what happened to our deputy is not okay. He gave the ultimate sacrifice, his life, defending us, defending you. And we need to understand as a society and as a community that that is just unacceptable. We will not accept that ever. I am grateful for the words of support, and I thank everybody again who has in their own way reached out to show their support and love. And I'm grateful to the men and women who provide the safety to our community every single day. Thank you very much.
And that was Sheriff Rosie Cordero starts fighting back emotion, choked up with the loss of that young deputy. And we cut away a little bit there, but some of the deputies and officers behind her were wiping away tears. And who wouldn't be wiping away tears on a night like this, where a young man, a young officer doing his job, doing what he loved, living out his calling, is wiped away, killed in the line of duty when he responded to a traffic crash. That young officer is Devin Jaramillo, age 27, a local young man who just was doing the job that he cared so much about. And it even, Roxy just went through the video earlier, who had been recognized for his exemplary performance on the job.
Trina, when we hear the sheriff's shaky voice, it is just a human reminder. She is the shepherd with her flock of sheep. She is a leader of the Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office, but she's human. We're all human. So it was tough for her there to stand and address the community, flanked by her fellow deputies. She was hurt. She was angry. The first thing she said when she spoke at the podium is, "I want to start out by saying that today is not okay. What happened today in Miami-Dade County and to our deputy was not okay, and today will never be okay. And she's right. It's not. What happened today is not okay. As the sheriff broke down details of what happened today, she said that he responded to a crash. Deputy Devon Jaramillo responded to a traffic crash, and when he responded there, she said he was brutally attacked and he was murdered. And this evening, the sheriff's office is investigating that this suspect, according to video that has been showed in this ongoing investigation from Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office, that the suspected shooter used the deputy's weapon, and with the deputy's weapon shot and killed him. That is part of the investigation that will continue late into the early hours this evening. At the scene, we know at least 2 suspects were found dead, and police are still investigating how that suspect died, whether he took his own life. It is not clear as to the number of suspects. But again, when we take you back to the scene, 12242, you're not looking at that. What you are looking at now, live images on both sides of your screen. This is just outside of Kendall HCA Hospital. But the scene, which is 12242 Southwest 128th Street in Southwest Miami-Dade near the Three Lakes neighborhood. That is where the ongoing investigation sets up. That is where the large radius of closures continues, where the mobile police command unit is, where that green Mustang with the yellow tarp is, where the investigation will focus and will continue as to what happened tonight. And as we heard from the sheriff, pray for us that we figure out a way that this never happens again.
Yeah, this is anything but normal. And this really just shakes you to the core. When you see just a young, vibrant young man like that at the beginning of his career has been taken from us. But we watch and wait for the caravan, the tribute of officers who will escort his body to the medical examiner's office. You see that sea of blue and red of his brothers and sisters lined up to support him, to let him know that even to the end they are with him. You saw the beautiful flag that Roxy has referenced several times, flying and flapping in the wind, a reminder that we are all Americans, even when horrible things like this happen. It's just one of those nights that you sit and take reflection on the importance of life and the importance of duty, and just how something like this could happen. And in the days and weeks to come, we will find out more details of exactly what transpired, what happened that someone would take a young officer's life in a minute.
The Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office posted as well on Facebook, in addition to what we heard from the sheriff this evening, in part here, Deputy Jaramillo's legacy of integrity, compassion, and courage will continue to live on in the hearts of all who had the privilege of knowing and serving alongside him.
So, of course, we've got plenty of information, all that we know right now, on the NBC6 app and also at NBC6.com. We will bring you live team coverage tonight at 11 p.m. Make sure you join us then on the death, the murder of a young deputy. Deputy Devon Jaramillo, 27 years old, is no longer with us. More coverage at 11.